Hey guys, welcome to another session on Design Lead Academy. I remain your tech instructor and my name is Jenny. In today's class, we'll be looking at how to format our documents properly, and that's because oftentimes and not a whole lot of us have experienced rejections from our bosses, from our supervisors, as a result of the fact that we do not know how to format our documents properly. So we'll be looking at three ways by which you can format your documents. And if you can get these three ways correctly, and trust me, you're good to go. So, okay, let's move to the agenda of the day.
Okay, so you can see right here we have a very not so formatted document. It's more like a poorly formatted document. And truth be told, for some of us, this is how far we can go. This is how far we know how to format our documents, which is pretty much not acceptable. I usually tag documents like this to be document nuisance, and that's because mere looking at it doesn't, appeal to the eyes. It creates some sort of nuisance to your eyes. It's quite irritating. And if you were to submit this to your boss or to your HR or to your supervisor, or just like I said earlier, it's totally not acceptable. Now that's why we are having this tutorial. We are going to see how we can format this poorly formatted document, how we can transform it first of all to something like this, uh, a simple, beautiful laid out thesis. You know, this is more like a research document. So we're going to be looking how we can transform that document garbage into something as beautiful as this. And secondly, we're also going to look at how we can, create something like this too, a report, just a simple laid out report. And thirdly, we're going to be looking how to create a modified block from our letter. In my subsequent tutorial, we'll be talking about how we can format letters, the formatting styles for letter writings. We have the block style, we have the modified block style, and we have the semi block style. But for just this tutorial, we're going to be using the modified block style, all right, which is this for your information. So let's go back and this is our document garbage. And the task before us is to transform that to this. So let's look at what we have here. We have a beautifully formatted header, well formatted body, and all of that. So let's start by formatting our header. Okay, so we head back to the first document, our garbage. Okay, so let's format this. For us to be able to format this header, the first thing we need to do is to click on Home, then hover to the Styles panel. Now, this Styles panel is very important when it comes to document formatting. In my subsequent videos, I'll show you how we could use this to create a very beautiful table of content for as many of us who have been having challenges in creating a table of content. Using this particular styles panel, you can achieve that. Okay, so let's hover down here to our extreme right and we click on this arrow and you can see it's doctored for us over here. So here we have a lot of formatting styles, and for our first header I love using header 1. So you click on header 1 after you must have highlighted your header. You can see it has taken the structure of header 1. But we pretty much want more formatting than this. So what do? We click on home, we make it bold, and we give it a color black. Then we also centralize by clicking this. Now for this tutorial, I'll try as much as I can not to use any shortcuts. Now that's because I want us to know where our tools are. Okay, so we can see that we have succeedingly formatted our header. Looking at our header, Um, I want it to be bigger. Yeah, I want it a little bit bigger. Let's say 18. 18 is good. Yes, this is good. Now you can see here we have something that looks like a right angle triangle. Um, what it does is it helps us compile or wrap up the body of a header, into one. What do I mean? You click on it and it wraps everything beneath the header up. You click on it again, it takes it down. So that is what it does. It helps us, organize what we have below the header. Okay, so we have finally formatted our header, excuse me. So we need to format this body. And for us to be able to do that, we have to make it into a chunk of a block. And it means we have to justify. Now, for us to be able to justify this, we have to highlight our text. Great. Then we click on Home. Then we hover to the paragraph panel. Then we select this tool here. It's called Justify. Beautiful. Now you can see that the bleeding edges of our text all have been, chunked up into one block, which is very cool. So let's take a look at what we have again. Okay, so we have to customize the header 2 and the body of header 2. Okay, so we do the same thing. You highlight. I love using header 2 for header 2. Then we add other formatting to it. We make it bold. We leave it as black. We centralize it. Then we could increase the text to a little bit smaller than header 1. That's 16. This is 18. This is 16. This is good. So next thing we need to do is to take off the bleeding edges and make it into a chunk of block. Let's justify. So we just take that and click on Home. Justify, very important. Now let's say this is a research document and we want to buttress a point. Yes, we've made our research, we've typed a whole lot of stuff, and we really want to emphasize on a particular point. And let's say this is the point we want to emphasize on. Okay, now we copy this. This actually must be a part of this. Let's just remember that whenever we're trying to make an emphasis on a particular uh, point, it must be something we must have talked about in our previous discussion. So let's say we copied it out of this. Now, this is what I mean. We're making a quote out of what we've, said. Um, Please kindly ignore the content of the document. It was just populated for this particular tutorial. So I believe you must have typed something very meaningful. Just ignore whatever it is that you're reading because, like I said, it's populated for this tutorial. And this is not a typing class, so I believe you must have already, typed whatever it is you wanted to type. This is a formatting class. So we're just formatting or helping you, teaching you how to format whatever it is that you must have typed. So we want to create a particular kind of quote. Like I said earlier, we have to copy it. Then we scroll down, you can see quotes. I really don't like using quotes. I love using intense quotes. So what does intense quote look like? Okay, sorry, it's not supposed to be like that. That's because we did not create a space for it. Let's create a space. You need to create a space for your intense quote. So let's take this to normal. Let's undo it. Okay. Let's give it some space. Let's give it some space. All right, so we highlight and then we click on intense quote. Great. So you can see it needed enough space to create this line and that line. And we can take it up now. That's it. So I really love my code to be in black. So let's just do a little formatting. Um, let's make it black. Great. The lines could be blue. It depends on whatever color you deem fit for your document. So lastly, we have to make this part, into a chunk of block. We have to justify it by highlighting. Then you click on home. Then you hover down to your paragraph panel and click on justify. And that's it. So you can see that we have been able to achieve a simple, let's take this off. And there's a spill over. Good. I just clicked on delete to delete that. Okay, so this is exactly what we want. Let's compare it to what we have. Okay, so you can see, okay, I can see a watermark. So let's add a watermark to it. But you can pretty much see that we've been able to achieve that. So for us to be able to achieve a watermark, let me take a zoom first so we can see our document in full. This is good. This is great. This is awesome. So what we have to do to add our watermark is to click on design, select watermark. This is not a watermark lesson, so I won't be teaching us how to create custom watermark, but in my subsequent video, we'll talk about how to create a custom watermark. So let's just select confidential. Great. So we have our watermark embedded in our document. So let's compare and contrast. Awesome. Awesome. So you can see that you have been able to format your document. Now this is much more presentable, much more appealing, and trust me, your document is definitely going to get the audience that it deserves. All right, so quickly, let's move on to the next one. So we want to create this. Let's take a zoom so we can see what we have. This is exactly what we want to create, right? Um, this is exactly what we want to create. So for us to be able to create this, we need to select a new document by clicking on home. Then, clicking on file. Then you click on blank document or new. So we just click on blank document. And let's just copy, where is it? We're going to copy this out. Copy this. Select copy. That's great. Select copy. So we're going to copy this out. And we're going to paste it into our new document by clicking on paste. We're going to take off all this formatting. Remember how we added our formatting styles panel. So we're just going to take it back to normal. So this is just to assume that you know how to type and you've succeeded in typing this, but what you want to achieve is this. This is what you want to achieve. So how do we achieve this? How do we achieve this? We click on sorry. Okay, so we highlight header. Now remember we have, let's take a look at what we have. Um, sorry, okay, we have a spill, so we have to make that bigger. So let's increase the font size, 18, make it black. You remember we have an underline, so we select underline, but this is not the kind of underline we have. We actually have just one underline. You can see it, we just have one underline, so that's exactly what we want. So let's take this off. That's not the underline we want. We take it off. And we hover down to our paragraph panel and we select the borders and we click on bottom border. You can see that's exactly what we want. So we can make this bold. Great. So we need to increase the font. The font is quite small, so let's increase the font to 12. 12 for me is actually standard. And okay, we justify. Great. So we've been able to achieve this. So what next? What do we have next? We have our table. So we'll be working on a table. So we have to create a table of how many rows and columns. We have 1, 2, 3 columns and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows. So quickly we click on enter. Then we click on insert and table. Then what do we have? 1, 2, 3 columns and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows. Now you can either do it that way or you just click on insert in case you have so much rows and columns to add. That's why you need to know where your columns are and where your rows are. So we have 3 columns and we have 5 rows. Right, so we click. Exactly, this is what we want. Let's just make it, yes, this is good. So right here we have what we call serial number. Then we also have what we call item. Then we have what we call quantity. Excuse me. So we need to make this bold. Okay, before we make it bold, I want us to just concentrate on building the schema. So let's drag this. Make sure your cursor forms a cross sign, just like this. So we have to drag. This is great. We'll do the same here. This is okay. So let's populate our table. 1, 2, 3, 4. We have bags. Okay, sorry, sentence. Okay, so we have bags. We have shoes. We have wigs. And what else do we have? We have bags, shoes, wigs, dress. Okay, we have dress. So we have to increase the quantity. Let's say we have 10, we have 22, we have 45, we have 100. That's nice. Okay, so we really want to give it a little style. So how do we do that? First of all, we highlight this and we make it bold. Then we highlight everything. I want them to be centralized. Great. Then we select the entire table by clicking on this cross box. Then you hover up to design. Now this design is different from this design. This design is for the table. You can see we have table tools, and under table tools we have what we call design and layout, right? So we'll be using design. So we click on design. Now we don't want any grid lines on our table. So how do we do that? We select the borders and we click on no border. So if you've been able to do that, then this is exactly what you should be having. All right, so this is good. So let's look at our document again. What do we have next? Okay, we have a text. So let's copy this text. Right. Okay. Copy. And sorry. And we paste. Okay, so probably you must have typed it and it's looking normal like this. Do not forget to always justify for it to, look like this. So this is really good. Then lastly, what do we have? It's a report, so we need a chat. And the kind of chat we added is a line chat. You could add a bar chart, you could add whatever. So we're just going to use a line chat. In our subsequent videos, we're going to talk about how to working with chats and all of that. But for the sake of this tutorial, we're just going to be using a line chat. So we'll click on enter, then we'll click on insert, go over to chats, click on chats, to line, click on line. Then I'm just going to use this default. You could use whatever you want depending on what exactly you're talking about. So I'm just going to use default because that's not really what we're dealing with. So click on OK. It's going to take a little time to populate. So let's just give it a little time. Awesome. So you can see that we're not really talking about chats, else we would have been looking at series and categories, but that's not our focus for this tutorial. So let's just take this off. Okay, so we have a spillover, and that's because we have a lot of text to this. So let's just take off the text. Now, I'm not saying you should reduce your text because you have a spillover. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying for the sake of this tutorial, we want everything to be on one document. So for us to be able to achieve that, we have to delete, just take off some. Great. So this is it. To close. Oops, sorry. Yes, this is it. This is more like it. Great. You can always adjust the size, you adjust the size by clicking inside of the chat box. You can drag up, drag side, drag down, drag side to make it look more like this. Oops, sorry. Let's undo that. You could just take it a little bit up higher and all of that. So you can do all that to your chat box, whatever it is you want to do. So let's compare and contrast. What do we have? This is our original document. Let's take a zoom. Sorry. Take a zoom. Okay. So we need to add our line. Okay. So that's the same. Okay. So we're on point. All we just need to do is to insert our page number and our footer. So for us to be able to insert our page number, all we just need to do is to click on insert, click on, page number. I don't making mine on the top. You can make yours at the bottom if you want. That's if you're not really going to use. Uh, that's just what you want to do. But this is what I want to do. The choice is actually yours. Okay, this is how I want my document to look. Okay, we're going to insert our, excuse me, we're going to insert our footer. I love using this. You could use this if you want. If you want to add your company name, the date, and all of that. If you have extra information to add, but I really do not have extra information to add. I just have a single footer, and that's going to be. Let's use silent technology LTD. Okay, I love. There's this particular font style I actually love, and it's called the Avant-Garde BKBT. Yes, I actually love that font style. So I'm going to use it for my footer. You just click on, just click outside, and pretty much that's it. So if you've been following, you should be able to achieve this. You should be able to arrive at this particular. Uh, you should be able to arrive here. So let's take a zoom to see if what we have done is similar to the task we had at hand. Ta-da! So we've been able to, um, achieve that. So let's quickly head to our letter. So lastly, we're going to format this. For us to be able to do this, click on home. Click on file for blank documents. Zoom to 100%. So we have a full view. This is a good view. And let's look at what we have again. A letter. So what do we do? Let's take a zoom. Great. So this is exactly what we want to achieve. Okay, so let's just copy this, right? Let's copy everything. Copy. Then let's paste. Right. Paste. Now, the thing is, you must have typed, right? And if you must have typed, this is exactly how. Oops, sorry. Let's take it. Okay, you must have typed, and what's going on? Right. Sorry for that. I think something's document is actually hanging. Okay, so let's take it back. Probably. Sorry. Take it back. Take it back. Take it back. And let's say this is pretty much what you've typed. We're taking off all the formatting styles here. So first of all, you start by typing this. A whole lot of people, some people, not a whole lot of people, but some people are usually challenged creating the modified block format in letter writing. So they do not know how to take this part, that's the sender's address. They do not know how to relocate it to your right hand side. So all you just have to do is click here, then use your tab key. Your tab key on your keyboard is the key that has tab on it. If it doesn't have tab on it, it has two arrows, one pointing to the left and one pointing to the right. So you use your tab key and you tap, 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 tap. That's rather too much, so you backspace it. You tap again, tap, tap. Oops, sorry. You bring your cursor to the second one, you tap. Now that's a simple way of taking it down there. You can also use your space key. You can also use your space key, but your space key doesn't really give you, it takes time. That's why I love using my tab key. The tab key just, knows how to measure the spaces in between for you. Okay, so this is okay. So this is how we achieve that. Right. And this is very easy to type. You must have typed this down one step at a time. So we want to format this. All we just need to do is increase the font size. As you can see, the font size is actually bigger than what we have here, which is good. So we'll leave it that way. Then we just make it bold, centralize it, and we use this particular underline. This particular underline is good. Now, if you have all in capital letter, not necessarily, you don't need to underline. You could just leave it that way. All right. So most of us, I'm going to repeat it over and over again. This is exactly how we leave our letter writing, which is very poor. So ensure after typing, you highlight and click on home and you justify. It makes it sweet and presenting. Now, probably you must have typed it this way. It's just the arrangement. All you need to do is to click on your enter key to take it a little bit down, and that's it. So it's as simple as that, guys. I take this backwards a little bit. Okay. I'm using my space key. Space it out. Great. Now let's compare and contrast. Let's take a zoom. Right. What do we have on birds? This is our original. So let's take a zoom. Right. So let's compare. Right. So guys, if you have finally, if you succeeded to get into this point, then congratulations, you're good to go. This is a primary way of formatting your documents. And like I said earlier, if you are able to achieve all of this, then you have pretty much what it takes to format even more complex documents. So thank you guys for staying with me on this. And like I usually say, after the tutorial, make sure you practice, play with it. There's a usual saying that goes thus: practice makes perfect. So it's always good to practice what you have learnt time and time again so you could never forget. Alright guys, thank you so very much for staying with me on this. See you in my next video.